Greetings and salutations, everybody. It's me, Robert Phoenix, and as you can tell, I'm getting my fall color scheme on today. You see that? You see that? The whispering call of the lonely loon. Oh, look who's here! Speaking of fall colors, yes, yes, it is the predator. She's the predator. Don't let that little face fool you. Don't let that little face fool you. Oh no. She's fierce. Fierce. What's happening, everybody? It is another day in the neighborhood. The neighborhood being whichever part of the realm that you are from. And where are we? Let me get my ducks in a row. Give me 1 second here. I apologize. I need to make sure that we have the astrology for the day. So let's just quickly ratchet it up. And away we go. I got my hair cut yesterday on the new moon, which I was intending to do, and it worked out. And my Lowe's saga is yet to be determined. It's funny, sometimes it really is just all about who you deal with at a particular company. So I realized that at Lowe's, the person who's been dealing with me is a person by the name of Cindy. And I realized that Cindy is a company gal, right? Like she wants to win. And I'll tell you how I figured that out, because I met the anti-Cindy yesterday at Lowe's. I met Dora. It's kind of interesting too, because they kind of look alike. And I had to have a double take on Dora, because I wasn't sure. Is this really Cindy? And Dora was really nice. Dora was pro customer. And it just dawned on me, Cindy wants to win for management. She wants to be able to go to her manager and basically say, they have a report. This happened, and he wanted to send it back, right? That's really what it boils down to. I got Cindy's number now. Anyway, they're both going to be there today when I go back to Lowe's to talk about this oven. And I said to Dora yesterday, I said, you're nicer than Cindy. And she laughed and she thought it was funny. I said, okay, tomorrow I'll come back. You'll be here and Cindy will be here. And we'll play good cop, bad cop. And you could be the good cop, okay? And then she laughed again. She thought it was funny. I like messing with humanity sometimes. It gives me great pleasure and joy to not interact with people in a robotic fashion. All right, who we got? Look at that green-eyed crow getting the front row seat at 11:40 last night. Michael, just slightly behind at 12:07. Then we got Brandy at 1:13. This is an interesting phenomenon. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be the first one. I'm going to be the first one tonight. I'm going to put my name up there. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm the first one. I'm the first one. Yo, it's my trailer park. Here's my trailer park. Julie Sunshine, 333. What's going on, Big Cat Mama? DJ Pebblestone, wiki. Kelly B, what's happening? Nora Rashid. Started at the gym this morning. What you accomplish in a day, Nora gets done in 4 hours. Scott Jerzik, what's going on, Scott? Buongiorno. Speaking of buongiorno, it's Jackie Delario. All right, so I've decided to see some movies I've never seen before. I have a never seen movie list that I put up on Twitter. And I've decided that because I like the director, I believe Michael Mann, I'm going to watch Heat. I'm going to see the movie Heat. And there's something about like the mafia movies that it's like this weird glorification. So, but I am going to sit down and watch Goodfellas. I'm a fan of early Scorsese. I like early Scorsese. I think Mean Streets is a really good movie. But in some ways, how many times can you make Mean Streets? All right, Neil Smith. Neil is going to be with us in October. Looking forward to it, Neil. I was at the hotel yesterday, finalizing details, hanging out with my gal, Jana, who I've been working with for the last 6 years to pull this event off. And full speed ahead. Veronica's barn. Today's vibe is going to be noisy. The coyotes are singing up a storm, and the second they went quiet, the fox started doing whatever you call the sound. Interesting. Laura E's here, loving the Virgo energy. Thankful for another day of sunshine. Laundry is going up online. Sounds very civilized. Sigurd, hello from inside the digital video exosuit modeled on Tom Hanks circuit. Oh my God. Yeah. Tom Hanks. Has Tom Hanks ever played a bad guy in his movies? Like, I always thought it was a major breakthrough when Robin Williams played a bad guy. It was like, oh, look at him. He really is fucking psycho. He's good at it. Christina Jerzik, what's happening, CJ? Naga Movement. Kelly B. There he is. Tom Jordan. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Natal Mars at 13 Cancer in the 12th. Mars return incoming. Ooh, that'll be interesting. Leanne Ott is here. Hi, Leanne. We hope to see you in October as well. Does anyone know about buying Bitcoin? You probably asked the right group. Somebody in here. Ms. Behaving too. There she is. There's our gal, Brianna Eves, GFX, who supplies a lot of the graphical stuff that I've done. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Brianna got married. So can we wish Bree a happy what would you call it? Betrothal? So Bree, congratulations. Pretty sure that was the day. There she is, Joan S. Saving Austin one tooth at a time. The lovely and talented one. Orlando. You could do the song Orlando by ABBA and just change the lyrics to Orlando. Have you ever thought about that, Orlando? And I have one sip of coffee left, and this is for you, War. Platinum Happiness. I think she's going to be with us 2024. What's happening? Hope your hip is happening. That's what's happening. Maya Rose, Guten Morgen. Soul Traveler, Sigurd. There's a fox scampering in the field to my right. Though he's an English fox, it knows not the call of the coyote. Yeah, that would be befuddling to the English fox now, wouldn't it? Since they don't have coyotes there. If you played a recording of the coyote, what would it do? Oh my God. That would be an interesting David Attenborough kind of moment. Green Eyed Crow's back again, this time in real time. Ryan, my man, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Knight of Cups is here. Gala Travelogue, whose thumbnail I like. I like Gala's thumbnail. I can only see part of it, but it looks interesting. Cassandra Lynn is here. Hi, Cassandra. Deborah felt a cool breeze this morning, Northwest Florida. Happy to be here. We're happy to have you. Miss Nikki's here. Rainbows and butterflies. Peachy is afraid of the new rug. I have a new rug. She won't step on it. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. Scrubbies. What's going on, Tamara? Walking Missy, we were way behind in the walking distance because of those smells. So many good smells today. There's a lot on those trails. Barbara Boots. She's got some ideas percolating. All English carnivores are on the menu. Ooh, eat the rich. Garden Girl. What's up, Garden Girl? Peter Bayonne. What's going on, brother? Checking in from the VB. The VB or the Veeb. Do they call it the Veeb? Vero Beach. Katie Barden. Hi, Katie. Road Trip 1981. It's our special darling. We'll be seeing her in October. Harriet Bowie. Hey. Cindy is a bit of a, I'll say it. Do we have any Cindys here in chat? Okay, it's not just Cindy. It's Cindee. Okay, now come on. She's doubling down. Dora the Explorer. I like Dora. She was so nice. You know, I was sitting down waiting to, to talk to her about this oven ordeal. And there was this young guy who was buying appliances. And he was young. I'd say maybe 30. Right? He's ahead of me. So he's finalizing his appliance deal. And she asked me, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She's Spanish. "I'm so sorry. Would you mind waiting a little bit? I have to take care of this man." I said, "Well, that depends on how long the little bit is. Can we quantify that? If it's 15 minutes, I'm good. If it's an hour, then I may have to go and do something else." And so she laughed and she said, "Well, it'd be 15 minutes. And this young guy, right, he's buying all these appliances. And I said, "Wow, you're really adulting. Good job." he was kind of a nerd, a bit of a nerd, young nerd, but one of these guys that's on a very serious track. And he said, yes, it's I don't know what the fuck he said. It's part of my duty or something. Some dry toast answer, right? I said, yeah. By 40, I still didn't have my own appliances because I guess we all mature at different rates. I love the public. Moira NYC, what's happening? Kelly, did Dora have a backpack? No, she did not have a backpack, but her hair was quite long for a mature woman. She was a mature woman, and her hair was quite long and braided into a tail. And I thought it worked for her, right? It really worked for her. Like, Dora, that long braid you got going on, that's it's kind of a long silver braid, but man, it actually works. Cindy, his name says, "I both own and use a bidet." She might. You got access to all those Lowe's appliances. You never know. Secret, I'll find out. I'll let you know tomorrow. Saoirse, got that name right. What's happening? Glemma Spank is here. Cindy, my heart dog was named Cindy. Uh-oh. See what you started, Seeger. Controversy. 15 minutes in the chat. We got controversy. Mary Grether. Hi, Mary. Lady Lou watching the hummingbirds. We got them here. They're on their way. They're on their way to Rockport. Justice Moody. What's up, Justice? Mr. Grainamore. Let's see. Who else do we have? Oh, I have a coworker named Cindy. Hardly ever smiles. Capricorn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right. Joan W. Hi, Joan W. Havana Blast. Hey, everybody. Biddy TV Networks, DIY Health Entertainment. Can't watch anything De Niro anymore. It's hard. You know, young Robert De Niro, man, the guy had a lot of fucking charisma. You know, he had a lot of that scene where he walks into the bar and it's kind of slow motion and they're playing the Rolling Stones, Street Fighting Man. You know, it's a pretty epic scene in a lot of ways. But yeah, De Niro's outlived his usefulness. Lisa Ann White, the law is in the house. Atlantis Rising. That is the lead track from the debut album of Automatic Man. Now, there's a little music nerdiness for you. Pretty much Sharon topic really red-pilled me back in the day. Sharon or Karen? My aunt's name is Sharon, who was kind of a Karen, but she had her moments in a good way. Let's see. Who else we have? Bean to Beans. He's bad enough for Cloud Atlas. Tom Hanks played a number of roles in Cloud Atlas, but he did play a creepy bad guy. Cloud Atlas is a weird, woke. Like Cloud Atlas is Cloud Atlas, if you really break it down, is the ultimate statement on gender, race, and identity fluidity. Wrap your brain around that. Kind of plays a baddish guy in Bonfire of the Vanities. Yeah. I've never seen it, but wasn't he kind of also a semi-bad guy in Neighbors? Like Neighbors is really weird. Like I've only seen parts of it. It's pretty. I've never liked Tom. I mean, you know, the occasional Tom Hanks movie I've seen. But Neighbors is really dark. I bet she's an all right person, just kind of cranky. No, I think she's a company gal. That's what I determined. And hey, good for her, right? Age of Innocence. I'll tell you what De Niro did do is he managed to direct a halfway decent movie. And that was the movie about Skull and Bones, the something whisperer. Fuck. It's early in the morning. Hold on, now I gotta find it out. All right, here we go. Let's see. The Good Shepherd. He's directed 2 movies, and one of them is The Good Shepherd. I don't know how. It's like, I wonder if somebody else directed that movie. This is so good. And if he was such a good director, why didn't he direct more movies? I'm just saying. Let's see. Who else do we have? There's my man, Jeff Rosen. No, you're good, brother. Welcome aboard. Angie, 808 State. What's happening, Angie? Let's see. Who else do we have here? Michael Mann, Thief, The Keep, and Man are all sinister. I love Thief. Thief is a great movie. Really great movie. I've not seen The Keep. I have seen Manhunter, and I have to see it again. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Susie G's in the house. Oh, Jessica Domagala. Greetings, Jessica. Valeria Rubens. Who else? Let's see. Intrinsic. What's up, Intrinsic? Healing Heart Rosie. Checking in. Sharon Lewis is in the Veeb. Do you guys call it the Veeb? My Chihuahua. My Chihuahua. Lowe's managers get $1 million bonus. They shut down Home Depot in their district. Never has happened. Oh, interesting. There's a scent that's bothering her. It's the pattern of the rug. It looks like a snake, apparently. Hey, we got Steph in the house. Look at that. What's happening, Steph? Good to see you coming over from Twitter. Let's see. My duty as American, a triple speed sandwich toaster. You have no doubt. No doubt. Let's see what else we have here. Claire. Hi, Claire. Hi, Claire. I bought my first house at 19 with my ex-hubby. Wow. That's adulting at 19. I'm impressed. Whitney Palm, speaking of appliances, looking for a good dual fuel gas refrigerator. Any good dual fuel gas refrigerator salespeople in the house, contact Whitney. Let's see. Let me just scroll through here. Lynn's here. The verbena plants attract hummingbirds and butterflies. No more feeders to fill and clean. We got some plants too. We got like a dual carb situation going on here. We got a dual carb situation with our hummingbirds. My kitty got spaded on the new moon. My grandmother, a Virgo, gifted me money to get it done. Sky clock always on time. Beautiful. Cloud Atlas messed me up as a child. I can see why. Let's see. Who else we have here? Who I have not greeted. De Niro and Jeremy Irons in The Mission. Man, that's a depressing fucking movie. Best movie, Robert, do a breakdown. Age of Innocence, please. I will book it. I will definitely book it. Artist Seer, on the road again. God bless you back, Jeff. Tunnel Mental, I like that. That's a cool moniker. Most great actors can direct. It's just whether they can hack the early starts. Right? Good, Elizabeth Lightoro. Good morning. I rewatched Vanilla Sky the other night. Super Neptunian. Vanilla Sky is underrated. Like Cameron Crowe, kind of a lightweight, but he decided to make a non-lightweight movie, and I thought I enjoyed Vanilla Sky. By the way, I gotta get going here, but I gotta tell this story. The Cameron Diaz scene at the beginning of the movie where she gets in the car and goes nuts, and thus starts the movie. I had this moment when I was living in California, and I thought to myself, well, it's a good thing I've never gone through that Cameron Diaz scene. I wonder if I'll ever go through that Cameron Diaz scene. Lo and behold, about a month later, there was this woman who was orbiting my life, and she was bat fucking shit crazy. And I was in the Cameron Diaz, Tom Cruise scene in my own life. It was happening. And at a certain point, I'm not shitting you. I'll never forget it. Candlestick Park was still around. And I said, you got to pull over. And she had a fast car too. So you got to pull over. She's like hyperventilating. I said, listen, I have a kid. Okay. Whatever kind of animus you have towards me, just remember, I have a child. So whatever you do and however flippant you feel about your life and mine, know that there's somebody else involved here. That cured her for about an hour. I managed to get to and fro where I was going safely. But the madness was just beginning. All right. Let's get into it. I just got to say hi to Mary Lee. Let's go. Let's talk astrology. So we are in Virgo now. And where do I start? Let's zoom in a little bit here. We're in a heavy duty mutable season. And the problem with mutability is it's as if you don't have any solid ground beneath your feet. Like the beauty of mutability is it's of all the triplicities, it is the one that is the most, how would I say this, plastic in some ways, right? It has qualities about it that are not edible, but editable. Like you could do good course correction through mutable cycles. On the other hand, it often feels like there's nothing solid beneath your feet. And it kind of feels like that. It feels to me like we're in this time where there's how do I explain this? All right, let me use an example. Twitter is on fire, and what I've realized is that humanity, in all of its aggrieved sensation, cannot agree on who the bad guy is. Like, there's a lot of really pissed off, disappointed, disaffected people, but nobody in that group can agree on who the bad guy is. And to me, that is that is in some ways a definition of mutability. Like, if it was just one bad guy, it'd be fixed. And it's like, yep, that's the target. We're over the target. Get the target. But with all this mutability, it's like, well, it's the technocrats. Oh, it's the Jews. Oh, it's the lizard people. Oh, it's the right. Oh, it's the left. Oh. Like, everybody has, I wouldn't say a scapegoat, but I'll say a scapegoat. Now, let's be clear. There are some not so nice people in the world, and there are groups of not so nice people in the world, and there are groups with agendas, and those groups sometimes work together and sometimes they work against each other. But in the midst of all this mutability, nobody can agree on who the perp is. They can't. And to me, it's mind-blowing. And then when you get there, there's the godlike voice of David Icke. Mate, you've almost got it. But it's the dark forces of the unseen world. Okay, well, thanks. Can I get a basic zip code for those people? You got a zip code there, David? So we can go track him down and get the pitchforks and torches out. Oh, they're not of this world. Oh, well, that complicates things, doesn't it? This is what I'm talking about, right? This is the mutability factor, and it's easy, I think, during a time like this to feel like there's nothing to hang on to. There's and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. I guess you'll have to be in the mix and find out. We're really at the final day. This is the final day of Mars in Gemini. And this is, it's mutable, but the energy is spent, right? The energy is spent. And there's this feeling or sense that there's just something left to be done. There's something left to be done. One more snarky tweet to get in before Mars goes into Cancer and everybody starts to take everything a lot more personally, right? That sun is going to keep squaring Jupiter in Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini really has created this interesting field of bifurcation. Well, this is the problem. No, 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 this is the problem. And this is the person. This is the person. This is the person. I mean, it's really been fascinating to watch. And when you have the sun in Virgo coming in, which wants to clean things up, it wants to correct things, and wants to have a quote unquote pure relationship, an unsullied relationship with reality, squaring off against Jupiter, ooh, that's tricky. Because Virgo wants to be precise. And Jupiter in Gemini is it's precise in these kind of micro packets, but it's not precise when you kind of add them all up. Adding them all up is a lot harder. So what we're finding with Jupiter and Gemini is, again, a lot of factions that are being kind of split off and splintered. And to me, it's a fascinating examination of how we have been really fragmented, right? Who was it? William Casey once said, when we get the American public to believe that nothing is true, we have achieved our goal. Well, I think we're kind of there, because everything is true and nothing is true simultaneously. The sun is getting closer into that opposition with Saturn. I just keep feeling that's medical. That's a medical moment. That's the lords of the injectable, the lords of the injectable solution, the semifinal solution against people in the Virgoan sense that, hey, my body, my choice. So that's coming. That's a showdown that's coming. As it continues to advance in that direction, the square with Jupiter gets more and more intense. And by the way, this is all starting to culminate in what I would call the trials of Trump. The trials of Trump are upon us, right? Trump is going to run the gauntlet. He's got a number of cases. He's going to try to appeal the case. I mean, this is all starting to happen now, right? And this is all part of that mutable fluidity field where, okay, this guy's running for president. He can be elected president. He's going to go to jail. This is all starting to happen now. And one of the byproducts of all this is a ramped up sense of existential fear. Virgo is one of the most fucking nervous signs in the world. A lot of times when you see a Virgo, they'll look calm, cool, collected on the outside, but their stomach is doing, donuts on the inside. And Virgo is very good most of the time at fronting that everything is cool. But inside, they have a whole other dilemma going on. And I feel like that's being externalized now. That we're getting to this place where hey, look, nothing is really cool. People are starting to look around, and I don't think any one side is immune to it. I mean, you're going to have the quote unquote Harris Waltz side, and that's a fucking, that's a fucking tire fire. That whole thing, it's a tire fire, and it's not going to get better, right? Then you've got the whole Trump trial and spectacle. That's not going to get better. There's just so many things that are cooking right now that I don't think anybody has any high ground or moral. Even the black pill people, they said, well, we're immune to this. We've inoculated ourselves with our daily dose of black pill. No, you're going to be in the mix as well. Your ideas will be challenged. Your anti-reality will be challenged. And they'll say, well, we don't have anti-reality. Derek Brose has written a manual for how to survive the technocracy. I'm going to read Derek Brose's book. I want to have him on the show. And I want to discuss his book. I want to test the validity of his ideas. And look, I've talked about this before. If, everything goes to hell in a handbasket, you need at least 3 to 6 months of being able to get through it. Bottom line. And then you got to figure out, well, what's the world going to be like on the other side? You need options. You need to be around enough to have options. If you plan on stepping outside the technocracy, well, that's a bit more. That is a bit more of a commitment than perhaps Mr. Bros and some of the other people understand. What if the technocracy takes hold and we're into this thing 3-4 years? Do you plan on being able to survive 3 to 4 years? Do you have the right food? Have you created the right fields for your foods? What happens when and I'm asking this to everybody, not since we're in the mutable grinder here. What happens when they start looking for people who are outside the technocracy and they deploy the drones? Are you ready to deal with that? So these are all much bigger, larger existential questions that with this mutable T-square, we may not want to have as a cup of trouble in the morning. But they're there, right? And there's an underlying tension here now that's brewing. And it's going to get more tense. In 4 days, when the sun is opposite Saturn, in a harder square with Jupiter, things are going to get real tricky. Now, I do like the Sun-Jupiter square. It's sort of like the escape hatch. It's that midpoint solution. And I like the fact, Gemini Mercury's a trickster and travels between worlds, has solutions that are outside the box. That's, to me, the square with Jupiter can be a relief in the opposition with Saturn. I would say that the thing that you have to watch out for with the Jupiter square is to not delude yourself that you have all the answers. That's a big one. Because just when you think you do, you get bitch slapped. Andy Edwards was talking about the album Tin Drum by Japan yesterday. It reminds me of that song Ghosts by David Sylvian, which is a really great song. Just when I think I'm winning, and was my was just when I think, and my post seems so sure. I think my position seems so sure. The ghosts of my life return, waiting for more. Right. That's kind of the theme. Like, this is not a time where thinking you have all the answers works. Questioning is good. Teasing the solution is good. We're going to get a lot of dogma. The dogma meter is going to get incredibly high over the next 5 days. It's going to be a very divisive time. Ain't no doubt about it. We got a brand new moon in Virgo still. And hey, I like the moon in Virgo. Just when it's not mine. No, I'm kidding. All you people with moon in Virgo, God bless you. The world would be a less orderly place without you. God bless you. I'm serious. As you know, both my parents had moon in Virgo. So I learned to embrace their very special form of affection. Now, this moon is going to get interesting, right? By tonight, tomorrow, it's moving into a conjunction with the South Node, and Venus was on the South Node yesterday. So it was a good day for me to sign a contract yesterday, which I did. And maybe by the time I get to Lowe's today, that moon will be in Libra. So I'll have the Libra moon on my side. I'll be nice and diplomatic with Cindy and Dora. But this is an interesting conjunction. And to me, it feels like the resurrection of harmony. A lot, I think, as I've watched and tracked the South Node transits through people's charts, because as an astrologer, one of the things that I get is a front row seat in people's lives with transits, and I'll ask them about certain things, like what's going on here. Are you experiencing this? Blah 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 blah. Right. Part of it is inquiry, and what I have found is that the transits of the South Node aren't a disaster. I went through an entire sequence of the transits of the South Node, starting with when it was in Scorpio on my Neptune, right? I went through it with the South Node on my Venus, my Moon and Mercury, and so for my life, in my experience, it wasn't a disaster. It was more like, okay, what can I tap into that I already know? And how does this South Node release the quality of the planet that it is conjuncting? Because that's really what it's doing. It's releasing it. And for a fair amount of time, I always felt like, well, this is the vulnerable position to be. Because theoretically, you want to occupy the true node, which is the case both in a transit situation and in the chart. However, when the South Node is transiting over your planets, it cannot be denied nor necessarily negated. There's something there to be pulled from and understood. And I believe it's releasing the quality of those planets, for better or worse. And each person is a witness and an experiencer to that experience. So we've got the moon coming in and conjuncting that South Node. And I feel like the moon is a very collective planet. Like, you really have to focus and get up early to see Venus, right? You can see it here rising before the sun. But we all see the moon. I may not always agree on the moon, but we all see the moon. So the moon is a very collective entity. So when the moon conjuncts the South Node, it goes beyond the personal. And it enters into the realm of a collective experience. And in Libra, the idea of fairness and equality and equilibrium, they're all on the table. And the moon is also quite sentimental. When we look at the moon, it looks backwards, especially in Cancer, like the good old days. Remember when? So there's a bit of a nostalgic part of the moon. And, there was a time when we were more diplomatic and fair. And not fair in an institutional sense. Like there's a difference between equality and equity. We all know that. But it feels to me like as the moon moves into that South Node position, Venus is already there. That there is a real lament for treating people fairly. And it's a lost art. It's really a lost art. And it's going to be interesting to see how that manifests. From a legal perspective, we're in Trump territory, right? Because Libra represents the law, right? The scales of justice. And boy, is that moon a collective object. And, Trump has Neptune in Libra and Jupiter in Libra. So get ready, right? The whole idea of fairness is, and especially with that South Node, is on the table. Across the way, we got the True Node in Aries. And how are people going to respond to a situation that is unfair? And that'll be a very interesting position with the True Node in Aries. Yeah, I was on Twitter last night, and there's this guy, Johnny Vedmore, who put out a very long tweet talking about how we're being moved into these digital gulags. And in some ways, he's not wrong. But the things that he put in the brief snippet of his essay were like these sort of universally held positions that everybody does what he says or doesn't do what he says in his post. Like, we used to go to the grocery store and shop for food. Well, hello, headline, I still go to the fucking grocery store. I still go to the grocery store. I still bring them home. Right? His whole idea was that home was a place that we could come to after we did those things, versus a place that we spent most of our time ordered in, right? And there's some truth to that, by the way. I'm not going to deny that. But I think it's awfully presumptive to think that other people don't have that experience, because I know people that don't, and I'm kind of one of them. And anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But one of the things I said is, this piece illustrates, this deeply perceptive piece illustrates the quality of mind that can understand our situation. And there's been a trade-off for violence in action along the way. And so what I was basically saying was like, hey, this is great, right? But what are you going to do about it? We've gotten to this place where we can describe all the details of the jail that we're not even completely in yet. Like, that's how far we've evolved. We have language. We can use words like panopticon, digital gulag, the cell phones that listen to us 24/7. I mean, all the elements of the story are there. And so we can perceive our own imminent extinction. Now, that's the power of mind. But there's a trade-off. And because those perceptual abilities have evolved, those other more visceral abilities have atrophied. And if you want to see a version of that, watch the movie Zardoz. Okay, let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. For you guys personally, like, just try to stay fluid, right? Just keep moving, stay fluid. Find interesting ways to interact with reality. I think the Sun Jupiter square is a bit of a hack. And I say hack, meaning that it's a bit of a reality hack. And helps us get out of this really hardcore polarization that's forming in the astrological skies. Okay, let's talk about our star of the day and quickly ramp up here, since I got to get to another show. And let me run the Bruce Bennett. Here we go. And let's go to our True Hemp Science star of the day. And of course, True Hemp Science, it's Liz Greene. Little big today. Let me see if I can shorten it up a little bit. Is that going to work? No, may as well make it big. True Hemp Science, of course, is the one and only sponsor of the show, besides yours truly, who does do astrological readings for people. And True Hemp Science, type in 15MINS when you go to their website and you order $100 or more of their product, and you will get the goodie bag. And I have two examples of what you get in the goodie bag. Probably get a little bit more than that. And as I've said on daily, that the Starlight gummies are worth the purchase. Trust me. $150 more gets you free shipping. There's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can make an appointment with Chris or one of his associates there. They'll help you out. They'll tell you all about it. All right, let's talk about Liz Greene. Liz Greene is one of my favorite astrologers. And I looked at her chart. I'm like, gee, I get it. I understand why. Sun in Virgo, so her sun is conjunct my midheaven. She's got all these Libra planets, and they're all in conjunction with my Libra planets. Her Jupiter's conjunct, her moon's conjunct my Jupiter, and we have the same degree rising sign in Scorpio. So it's like, yeah, I got Liz Greene before I really looked at her chart. Liz Greene is one of the people behind the site Astro.com. And she wrote an incredible book about Saturn. And it's called Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil. I highly recommend it. If you haven't read it, it's must reading. Liz is born in Englewood, New Jersey. And I believe she's in, I think Astro Dienst is a Swiss site. I think she lives in Switzerland and has lived in Switzerland and been a part of Astro Dienst for quite a while. And her book on Saturn is essential. She's got that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, so it makes her a bit of an authority about Saturn. It's told from a very Jungian perspective. And, she's a teacher, right? She has Mercury in Virgo. So when she teaches and when you read A New Look at an Old Devil, it's not, it's profound, it's deep, but it's not above your head. Like if you understand certain concepts, and most of you are hip to Carl Jung and transpersonal psychology, you'll get it, right? You'll really get it. She's really good at explaining things. And so the sun is in the 9th house versus the 10th house, which gives it more of a teaching slant. And I think Liz Greene, I've never had a reading with Liz Greene, but her work on Saturn alone qualifies her, in my estimation, as being one of the great, like she's up there with Richard Tarnas in talking about astrology as archetype, as myth, as a transpersonal tool for discovery. Now, what's interesting about her is this true node conjunction with Uranus, right? Uranus rules astrology. So her direction in this life has to do with astrology. And when you look at her page on astro.com, it talks about relationships. And all the relationships that are listed, I don't see one that says husband or partner. They're all other astrologers, right? There's Nicholas Campion, there's Robert Curry, there's all these people. There's this guy, Alois, who I think she started astro.com with. That was her teacher, right? So her relationships are built on astrology. These are astrological partnerships. Now, the South Node is conjunct the moon. So she has an ability to tap into a deeper, and again, what did I say about the moon? I said of all the planets, the moon is much more public and archetypal because it can be seen, and we have a relationship with that which can be seen, just like the sun. You can find Saturn up there, but you're going to have to know where it is. You're going to have to pinpoint it, right? So when we get into the moon, we get into the collective manifestation of our emotional body. And so she's tapped into it, and she's very, very good at understanding patterns. Very, very good. And she is she's not a domestic person. She's an above the line person. And what does that mean? That she's there for the world. She's a transpersonal person. She has one planet below the horizon, and that is the moon. So she's learning about how to deal with emotions within everyday kind of interface, right? And she has Black Moon Lilith also in the 1st house in Sagittarius. And, my astrological take on Black Moon Lilith is different for men than it is for women. It means different things. For women, Black Moon Lilith is often the shadowy relationship they have with other women. Think Eve, think Lilith. Who do you think got Lilith kicked out of the garden. It wasn't Adam. Adam's like, yeah, I'll take both of them. Yeah, why not? No, it was Eve, right? I want that bitch out of here. Get this bitch Lilith out of the garden. And for women, that's how Lilith will operate. It's often a projection from other women onto the woman whose black moon Lilith they are projecting into. For men, it is their unresolved relationship with their mother. Now, the mother does creep in from the black moon Lilith perspective. For women, it's something that's inherited, and it's the shadow of the mother quite often. But unlike men, it is experienced differently. One is anima, the other is animus, right? For the men, it is the anima. For the woman, it is the animus. But in this case, the animus is coming from other women. Scorpio rising. It's an interesting Sabian symbol. It is the king of the fairies comes home, right? So there's something about that 28th degree, which is kind of magical and a bit Pied Piper-ish, right? It taps into the magical potency of Scorpio. And apparently she's got a very busy 11th house, which is the house that rules astrology. You know, I should see if I can get Liz Greene on as a guest one of these days. She'd be a really interesting guest. Let me see if I can reach out to her. I don't know. Sometimes these people charge to be on shows, and I've never paid for a guest. So, and I know some people do, right? Some people have the money to do that. I think her biggest challenge is that Saturn square and the Uranus opposition. I think the Uranus opposition is her like abandoning a traditional life and moving into a much more non-traditional life vis-a-vis her astrological partnerships. So if you haven't discovered a new look at an old devil, I highly recommend it. And Liz Greene is, I believe, one of the greatest astrological scribes of the 20th century. Check her out and enjoy her work. There you go. That's our star of the day. Thank you all for being here. And hopefully I'll see you over on either Boxcast or over on Rumble. And we're going to be talking about the next few weeks. We just got cooking. All right. Treat each other well. God bless. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to set what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Hit the like, subscribe. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.